were not born to be broken. You were born to rise through the breaking. Every wound you carry, every silent night, every unanswered prayer, every breath you forced yourself to take, they are not signs of weakness. They are the marks of someone who stayed. The storm does not destroy the mountain. It shapes it. It carves its truth into stone. There is a part of you that no one can touch. Not failure, not loss, not betrayal. That part, the inner citadel, is where your power lives. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So begin again, right here, right now, not because you have no pain, but because pain is not your master. The world will not wait for your healing. It will move with or without you. But time has no meaning to the soul that is awake. There is only the present moment, and what you decide to do with it. You have been taught to run from your emotions, to drown them in noise, to scroll past the ache. But silence is the mirror of truth. In silence, you meet yourself. You see the child you were, the warrior you became, and the peace you still seek. Do not fear that encounter. Sit with it. Let it speak. Let it hurt, and then let it go. Because healing is not found in forgetting. It is found in remembering. Without being ruled by what you remember, you have walked through darkness so thick. You forgot what light felt like. You've carried burdens that others never saw. And yet, you still breathe, you still rise, you still hope. There is something sacred in that, something divine. Seneca once said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." And you have lived, even when your hands trembled, even when your soul cracked, even when you didn't know why you should. Do not underestimate that. To endure is not to surrender. To endure is to become. Pain changes you, but it can also awaken you. You begin to see the truth, that nothing external can truly harm you unless you let it inside. The opinions of others, the loss of things, the chaos of the world, they can shake you, but they cannot destroy you if your foundation is within. Epictetus taught this with quiet certainty. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So what will your reaction be? Will you curse the storm? Or will you become the calm within it? Your life is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be real. And real things are cracked, scarred, unfinished. But still, they shine. Look at the night sky. Every star you see is light that traveled through time, through dust and destruction, to reach your eyes. Its brilliance is born of its endurance. You are no different. There were moments you thought you were lost, but you were only being reshaped. The old version of you, the one built on fear, on approval, on expectation, was never meant to last. Sometimes, life burns you down so you can rise without illusion, so that what remains is only what's true. And what is true is unbreakable. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are not the voices that said you couldn't. You are the quiet resolve that kept going. You are the stillness beneath the noise. You are the moment. You stood up one more time. Do not search for peace outside. It is not there. Peace is forged in the fire of acceptance. It begins when you stop fighting what is and learn to walk with it. The Stoics called this amor fati, to love your fate, not just endure it, not just accept it, but love it. Because every event, every loss, every joy is part of the same story, yours. The world will test you again. It always does. People will disappoint you, dreams will fail, love will fade, and yet the sun will rise. And so will you. When you understand that, nothing owns you anymore. The man who fears death is already dying. The man who accepts it is free. Look around you. Everything changes. Everything ends. But the spirit that observes, the one inside you, is timeless. It watches. It learns. It endures. So do not chase forever. Chase presence. Chase truth. Chase mastery of the only thing you will ever truly possess, yourself. Ask yourself, who am I when everything is taken away? Who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when silence becomes my only companion? If your answer is uncertain, good. That is where growth begins. Growth is not loud. It happens in the quiet rewiring of the soul. It happens in the discipline to rise when you could fall. It happens in the choice to respond with virtue instead of rage. Marcus wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That is the way, not to talk, but to live, not to pretend, but to act. not to seek comfort, but to seek truth. The world praises appearance. The wise man praises alignment. When your actions match your principles, you walk with peace. There is no victory greater than mastery of self. You have felt the fire. You have known the weight of despair. But do you not see? That too is your training. Discomfort is the sculptor of the soul. Adversity is not your enemy. It is your instructor. Every trial you endure teaches you something the easy days never could. Patience, courage, humility, resilience. You learn to control your breath when fear rises. You learn to listen before reacting. You learn that not every battle deserves your sword. And slowly, you become a fortress, not of walls, but of understanding. The man who commands himself cannot be conquered. Remember this: life is not happening to you. It is happening for you, to sharpen you, to reveal you, to strip away what is false and awaken what is eternal. And still, you must choose every day to rise or remain, to live as a victim or as a student of fate. When the world darkens, do not curse the night. Light your own flame. It will be small at first, flickering, fragile. But if you protect it, feed it with honesty, discipline, and compassion, it will grow. And one day, it will burn bright enough to guide others out of their own shadows. That is your purpose. Not to be free from pain, but to transform it, to turn suffering into strength, chaos into clarity, loss into wisdom. You are the alchemist of your own soul. The world outside will never be perfect, but the world within, you can perfect that. So breathe, return to yourself, stand tall in the storm, and remember, you were not made to crumble, you were made to endure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." That source is waiting. It always has been. The quiet strength, the unshakable peace, the calm within the chaos. It's not somewhere far away. It's here, now, inside you. And when you touch it, when you finally feel it, you'll realize something profound. You were never truly lost. You were only learning how to find yourself. And that is the beginning of freedom. Freedom is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of understanding. You begin to see that life was never meant to be controlled, only met, moment by moment. As it unfolds, you begin to see that suffering was not sent to punish you, but to polish you, to strip away illusion, to make you real. Every time you resisted, you were being shown the truth, that what you fight in life often mirrors what you refuse to face within yourself. The enemy is rarely out there. It is the chaos inside, the unexamined thought, the unchecked emotion, the story you keep telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." So mastery, it does not mean control. It means awareness. It means being the witness instead of the whirlwind. Look at your anger. Don't run from it. See what it hides. Look at your envy. Trace it back to the insecurity beneath it. Look at your fear. Listen to what it's trying to protect. All emotions are teachers, but few are willing to learn. When you stop judging your emotions, you start to understand them. And when you understand them, you no longer serve them. They serve you. The Stoics called this apatheia, not indifference, but balance. A mind that feels deeply, but is not ruled by feeling. A heart that loves fully, but is not enslaved by attachment. You do not become stone. You become still water, reflective, calm, unmoved by surface storms. When you reach that state, the world will look different. You will see that people's cruelty is often their pain-seeking escape. You will see that betrayal comes from blindness, not evil. You will see that what you lost was never truly yours, only borrowed from time, and you will forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness is freedom, not for them, for you. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." You live so much of your life inside stories that never happened. You replay old wounds, as if pain could be undone by repetition. But every time you relive it, you bind yourself tighter to the past. Let go, not by force, but by truth. You cannot lose what was never meant to stay, and you cannot be abandoned. When you have found yourself, stand before the mirror of your soul and ask, what am I still holding on to that is holding me back? The answer will not shout. It will whisper. It will speak softly from the quiet corners of your being. Listen, trust it, and when you're ready, release it. For every ending, There is a rebirth waiting in the silence. The universe does not take without giving, but it does not always give what you wanted. It gives what you needed. Loss is the great awakener. It strips away the false gods of comfort, permanence, and control. It brings you to your knees so that you may finally look upward. It humbles the ego and awakens the soul. And when the tears dry, you see clearly. You were never the one being destroyed. You were the one being revealed. The cracks you hide are where the light enters. The scars you hate are proof that you survived. Do not chase beauty. Become truth, for beauty fades, but truth remains luminous forever. Look at the trees. They do not cling to their leaves. When winter comes, they surrender them, not out of despair, but out of trust. They know spring will return. You must do the same. Let the seasons of your soul unfold. Do not demand summer. When life is calling for winter, there is purpose in the cold. There is wisdom in stillness. When everything falls away, you meet the essence that never does. And in that meeting, you will find something greater than hope. You will find peace. Peace is not a reward. It is your natural state. But you must remove the noise to hear it. Sit in silence. Breathe. Do nothing. Let the chaos settle like dust. Then watch. Watch how thoughts rise and fade. Watch how feelings move like waves. Watch how life flows through you, not against you. That is freedom. Not to control life, but to flow with it, gracefully, calmly, awake. When you walk this path long enough, you stop needing applause. You stop needing to be understood. You stop chasing validation from those still asleep. You realize the journey was never about being seen. It was about learning to see clearly, to see truthfully, to see beyond yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That is the ultimate power, the ability to choose your perception. The world may burn, but if your mind remains unshaken, you stand in paradise. You begin to understand the mystery, that happiness is not found, it is allowed. That joy is not acquired, it is uncovered. You already have everything you need to be at peace. The question is, will you allow yourself to be? The ego resists. It craves drama, conflict, identity. It fears quiet, because quiet means surrender. But the soul longs for stillness. It knows that true strength is not loud. It whispers. It endures. It simply is. And when you align with that, life stops being something you endure. It becomes something you embrace. Even the pain, even the uncertainty, even the end. Because you finally see, it was never the world you had to master. It was yourself. And once you do, everything changes. Not because the world softened, but because your soul became unshakable. You walk slower now. You breathe deeper. You speak less, but each word carries weight. You no longer react. You respond. You no longer seek control. You practice acceptance. You no longer chase meaning. You embody it. And in that quiet transformation, you find a serenity that cannot be stolen. The Stoics called it eudaimonia, a flourishing soul, not the fleeting happiness of circumstance. A flourishing soul, not the fleeting happiness of circumstance, but the enduring peace of alignment. You live not for what happens, but for how beautifully you live through it. You have become the calm in the storm, the mountain in the wind, the light that no shadow can consume. And though the world may still wound you, it can no longer own you. You are free. Freedom is quiet. It does not shout. It hums beneath the noise, steady, eternal, like the tide. You start to see the world not as something to conquer, but as something to understand. Every event, every joy, every loss, every silence is a message written for your awakening. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" the universe opens. The lesson reveals itself. You learn patience when everything you love takes its time. You learn humility when everything you built falls apart. You learn compassion when you realize everyone is fighting an invisible battle. Pain ceases to be punishment. It becomes teacher. It becomes companion. It becomes mirror. The more you resist it, the more it returns. The more you accept it, the more it transforms. And one day, you realize something profound. The very things that once broke you have become the foundation of your peace. Every scar tells a story of survival. Every tear watered a seed of wisdom. Every failure taught you where truth begins. Seneca said, Fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave. And you have been tested. But gold does not fear the flame. It knows that heat only refines it. So do not curse your trials. Thank them. They are the furnace of your becoming. The road ahead is not without storms. But you will not be the same traveler anymore. You will walk through rain without trembling. You will face darkness without despair. You will speak with fewer words, but deeper truth. You will learn that wisdom is not found in knowing much. It is found in needing little. The more you let go, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the clearer your vision. And when you see clearly, you finally live freely. Freedom, then, is not escape. It is presence. The Stoics knew this. They walked among emperors and slaves, among wealth and ruin. And yet they all reached the same conclusion. Peace is not in circumstance. It is in the soul. Epictetus was born a slave, yet his words outlived kings. He said, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly." Acceptance is the highest form of strength. Not passive surrender, but active harmony. To say yes to life, even when it hurts, even when you do not understand, even when all you can do is trust. And so you do. You begin to trust in the rhythm of change, in the wisdom of time, in the quiet voice within that says, keep walking. You stop running from uncertainty. You start moving through it. You stop asking for guarantees. You start building faith. Faith not in miracles, but in your own endurance, in your ability to meet whatever comes and remain whole. You no longer need to control every outcome. You simply prepare your mind for every possibility. That is real power. Not to bend the world to your will, but to remain centered. No matter how the world bends, you begin to act, not react. You begin to choose, not chase. You begin to serve, not seek. Because in serving something greater, in aligning with virtue, with reason, with truth, you transcend the self that suffers. The Stoics taught that virtue is the only good, not wealth, not fame, not pleasure, only virtue, only integrity, only the quiet knowing that you did what was right, even when no one saw. And so your compass changes. You no longer ask, what do I want? You ask, what is right? You no longer say, why is this happening? You ask, how can I respond with strength? This is the rebirth of the soul. When your purpose becomes inner excellence, not outer approval, and in that moment, you become unstoppable. The world can take everything, your possessions, your titles, your comfort, but it cannot touch your virtue. Your character is your kingdom. Guard it well. When you rise in the morning, remember, you owe the world nothing but your best conduct. When you lie down at night, remember, no one can take the peace that comes from a clear conscience. This is mastery, not of others, but of self. And with mastery comes stillness, a deep calm that no storm can reach. The calm of knowing that everything, every rise, every fall, every heartbreak, is part of a larger design. You do not need to understand it. You only need to live it with grace. Life is not a test. It is a dialogue between your soul and existence itself. When you listen deeply, you begin to hear the answers you've been searching for all along. They do not come as thunder. They come as whispers. They come as peace. They come as understanding. You realize everything is temporary. The pain, the joy, the confusion, the clarity. And that is what makes it beautiful. You stop clutching. You start appreciating. You stop demanding. You start observing. Life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. You learn to move with it, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, but always with grace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? The wise man does not fight fate. He collaborates with it. So breathe. Be still. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are exactly where you are meant to be for your soul to awaken. Everything you've endured was preparation for this peace. Every wound was a doorway to this strength. Every goodbye was an invitation to meet yourself again. And here you are, awake, alive, aware. The old self is gone. The one who feared, who fought, who clung. You buried him in silence. What remains is something pure, something ancient, something divine. You are no longer chasing meaning. You are living it. You have learned to bow to what is, to smile at what was, and to trust what will be. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a life lived not in reaction, but in reverence. The path continues. It always does. But now, you walk it differently. Not with fear, but with faith. Not with haste, but with presence. You have become what you were always meant to be, a soul at peace in a world that trembles. And as you walk onward, through the noise, through the chaos, through the endless turning of the world, you carry the one truth that cannot be broken. You are the calm. You are the fire. You are the stillness. You are the light. You are free.